Hey, my name is Coutt. I'm an artist, a director, and designer. I'm currently based in Los Angeles. I grew up in Boston, but I moved out here to really dive into all of my goals and the creativity that surrounds this city.
So great. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to sit down with me. I really appreciate it. Before we get started, I'd like to ask you, what do you think people's first impression of you is?
That's a tricky one. Throughout life, I've gotten a lot of different reactions from people. Um, But what I did find most importantly was that for other people to sort of see me in the light that I wanted them to see me, I have to see myself like in the way that I wanted to be seen or how I felt. So I guess there's two different sides of this. Like, let's say I get booked to work in an advertising agency or a company. I walk in there. I guess I'm sort of confident these days, and I'm going there to do a job. And I think like people can get a little put off by like the fact that I'm just going in there, I'm doing my shit, like all this. And there's some people that are very standoffish towards me and throw sort of hate, but then there's other people who are just like super embracing and welcoming. So those are like the two drastic contrasts that I always get. But once somebody actually sits down and talks to me, I feel like a lot of that fades away because they realize that I'm just a person who's just out here like everybody else. Like everybody has their own issues that they're dealing with on a daily basis. So why judge people for that first impression? Although it's said the first impression is very important, but really like it takes more than one time meeting someone to get to know them. So yeah, just talk to me and then we'll hash things out, really.
There, the things that you just said are so true. I always say that you have to love you before you can expect someone else to love you, and you have to be the things that you want for yourself before you can be them for someone else.
Absolutely agree.
I totally agree with that. And then what you say about um judgment free. And we do judge people. And you say that first impression. Sometimes people judge people on a first impression they don't even know that they're having,
Yes.
where it's not even a direct interaction with you. So you truly have no idea what's going on with that person.
I think most of these judgments that we have towards other people is sort of like an inner conflict, something that we're not settled with in ourselves. So if you see somebody who has confidence just doing their job, getting there, and then that makes them feel or you feel insecure, and then you already build this whole idea of what this person is without even saying two words to them.
Yes, I talked about this when I did a couple of episodes about bullying, and we talked about sometimes where that comes from. It is jealousy and insecurity. It's exactly what you just said.
Mhm.
So, well, I am glad that people give it a chance to get to know you and find out all the cool things that you're up to. Speaking of cool things, what's going on behind you?
Oh yeah, I hung up these paintings so I could have a cool backdrop. I was gonna like do this in my little art studio that I have outside, but the lighting and the setup, it was gonna be too much. So these are two new pieces that I finished this one last week or last weekend, and then this one the weekend before. Um, so it's all about, I really love doing abstract work. It's really like you dive into whatever emotion that you're feeling or whatever emotion you want to channel and just have at it.
I love abstract art. I like them both, but I'm really digging the red, the with the reds and the white. Yeah.
Yeah, this one's my favorite too. Yes. Last weekend it just came out, so I was like, "This is dope." This one, I mean, it's cool. It's I like this one more because it's a little different from what I usually do.
It's really cool. So you said you were originally from the East Coast and came out to the West Coast. Let's talk about that journey. How did you catapult from one side of the country to the other?
It was a long, anxiety-filled journey, honestly. But I've always had dreams of moving out to LA. I didn't know anything about California, nothing. I just knew I wanted a change. And to me, at a younger age, that was very like a daring thought to even think about leaving your family or leaving where you grew up. But after going to school and college, I sort of started to develop a sense of who I was outside of family and outside of the constraints of your hometown. And I was able to massively grow and have sort of a spiritual awakening at that time. And I graduated, I think it was 2013, with a graphic design degree. And I ended up landing a freelance gig in California, basically like throwing, like I was so nervous to actually go do it. And my nerves are kind of what held me back in that situation. But once I got here, I was like, I need to live here. I'm still not ready to do it, but I know that in a few years I'm going to move here. So I tried to move there a few times. I'd come out here, I'd look for rooms, and right as it was about to happen, it was something would happen where, oh, the apartment that I was gonna live at like isn't available anymore. The roommates that I was gonna live with, they bailed on me. So it was like every time it slipped right through my fingers. But then finally I was like, I ended up losing one of my jobs. And I was just like done dealing with all the drama in life, you know? I was like, this is my time to actually make a change. I started doing these spiritual healings, and it really catapulted me towards not giving LA a chance to slip by me again. I was like, I'm going there, I'm getting an apartment, and I'm moving. And then it happened. So here I am. It's almost 3 years now. It'll be July 7th will be the third year.
That's awesome. Well, happy almost living in LA anniversary.
Yes.
Um, I love that because I just had a conversation yesterday. Timing sometimes is everything. And I feel like, you said you went through this spiritual healing journey, which I want to talk about, but um, I feel like when you think you've missed an opportunity, you're actually gaining a new one.
Yeah, I agree. It's people always jump sort of too fast, you know? Like if let's say that first time I came out to LA, full of nerves and anxiety, like not doing a good job at my job because I was scared about what other people were thinking. If I had moved out here back then, it would have not as been as easy for me as it was 3 years ago. It's just because you need to be at a certain mental level. And people think, oh, moving, you're gonna, oh, let me move across the country. But you're gonna bring all of your issues with you. You can't just run from them because they're gonna catch you. So it's good to really ground yourself and figure out what's going on. And then when you're ready, make that leap because it'll be worth it. It's all in divine timing.
Agreed. So talk about the spiritual healing journey.
Yeah, so in college, a lot of things like started happening. Like I would realize that I've been able to like sense energy and sort of pick up like things that I shouldn't really know. And it was just really confusing for me. So I went down this whole rabbit hole of like researching everything. And then I discovered like, hey, it's actually normal for people to have and be able to sense this type of stuff. So it actually helped me realize that all the anxiety that I had as a child might have been from me picking up the 30 other children in my class's energy, and like having to go sit there and deal with all of that every day when I'm just trying to like do my own thing. So, and everybody goes through like dark periods of their life. And I sought out, I think I said I lost one of my jobs, and then I sought out a energy healing with Jordan Bain. He runs the Modern Mystery School in Boston, Massachusetts. And I went there for healing sessions, and I started like studying more with them. And after that, I had this dream trip booked to Europe, and I was like, I'm not letting fear like get in my way anymore. And through learning about the spiritual things and the healing modalities and just really cutting the line of fear with myself, I was able to really just push forward.
That's awesome. And I think we let fear dictate a lot of what we do. And then things become very cyclical and we end up spiraling in the same circle all the
Mhm.
time. So
Yes.
I'm so excited for you that you've had this journey and these successes. And so now being out here in LA for 3 years must feel very good.
Yes, it's crazy that it's gonna be 3 years. I sometimes I still walk outside. I'm like, wait a minute, there's palm trees. Like I'm in California. This is insane.
That's, it is nice here. I will say the weather is lovely.
Yes,
Definitely a little different than back east.
for sure. Yeah, I hated snow, so I'm happy to be away from that.
Yeah, it's one thing to go vacation to it, and it's another to have to be there,
Yeah,
right?
or it's one thing for like an inch of snow that stays for a day, but when you get 3 feet for like 3 months, it's just like it's horrible. To
No,
me
thank
at least. Some people love it. I don't know.
yeah, no, thank you. I'm with you. No, thank you. So, what is something that would surprise people to know about you?
I guess I don't really talk about the spiritual stuff too much, but I just got my Reiki certification. So I'm able to do that type of healing on people. I'm still practicing, but I just do it to friends and family or families in Boston. So when I go back there, I'll be able to do that for them. But yeah, and I've been plant-based for almost 10 years.
So, you talked in your intro about being a producer, being an artist. So, let's talk about how those things intertwine.
Yeah, so director and designer. Um, so so in school I went for graphic design and I went to the like an art side of the school, so I had to take different art classes. So going there, I didn't really know that I was a designer or an artist, but getting this well-rounded experience of art and learning design at the same time, it was really like a catapult for everything to come in my life. I came to terms with the fact that I am a graphic designer, but I'm also a intuitive and creative fine artist. And combining those two things together, I think really makes my work stick out, especially like working for the music industry. Just did a music video with artist Dylan. And it was crazy because I got to really hone in on everything that I've learned, like the abstract art. I paint mannequins. I got to really stylize the entire video. And I think that edge of having that background and like the creative conceptual mind that is based from the more structured design world really allows for an explosive but fluid outlook on what video and design can be.
That's really cool. And you talked about the foundation that you got in going to school for graphic design. Did you always want to do that? Did you always
No,
wanna-
I didn't even know what it was, honestly. I just kind of, my teachers, I remember I always had an interest in art, you know? I think it was ninth grade. I made this conch shell out of clay, and my teacher was like, "Hey, that's kind of nice." And I was like, "Thanks, whatever." I don't know. And then she came over. She handed me a certificate to the National Art Honor Society, and I was like, "Oh, I had no idea what this is. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm too like nervous to do that, you know." Like, so I just didn't do it. And then I started taking digital art classes, and again, my teacher, a different teacher, Mrs. Hurley, she like would compliment me here and there. I was like, oh, thanks. Like maybe this is something that I'm actually good at, you know? So I just kept going down that lane. And then college came. She's like, maybe you could do graphic design. I was like, okay, sure. I was like, I don't know what graphic design is or anything, but I just went there and showed up and did my thing.
And now look at you. Look at these paintings behind you, the music
Yes.
video, all these incredible things that you're
It's
doing.
crazy to see like the growth. And especially being out in LA too. It's like 3 years accomplished so much stuff, and I can't wait to see what's next.
What is something that you're most proud
Um, in 2019, I got to showcase at Miami Art Basel. And it's crazy how like all that stuff just unravels, you know? I have a friend, Brian Delgado. He has connections in the art industry, and I was like, we always wanted to work together. So I just remember sitting down, writing him a email because I lost another job. Being a designer, I've had like 200 jobs, so you never know. It's never safe. I just remember one day I was like, you know, if I actually want to take this art seriously, I need to do it. So I wrote him two paragraphs and I sent it to his text or whatever. He called me 5 minutes later. He's like, actually, Are you interested in Art Basel? I was like, hell yeah, that's a lifelong dream of mine. It's like the biggest art show in the country, let alone the world. So let's do it. So that was one of my pride moments. And then the also the new music video that just came out, we got a silver listing at the Berlin Music Video Awards, which was crazy to even be recognized by them for our first, second. This is like the first official music video we did.
Very cool. How congratulations on both of those
Thank you.
accomplishments.
Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. That's very exciting. And where do you showcase and sell your art on a regular basis?
So right now I have a studio in my backyard. For the more, I make a big mess when I paint. And I also set up a studio in my bedroom area, where I made both. Actually, I made this one in the backyard. This one was done in my room. But I showcase them online currently because with COVID, you can't really. All the galleries are shut down. Instagram. Although I'm taking a detox. I'm gonna be coming back with some fire on some Instagram. But yeah, everybody can find my design work at graycouttsart.com.
Awesome. I'm definitely going there after this interview. But well, I again thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and talk to me and share so much about not only your professional journey and your dreams, but your personal journey as well.
Yeah,
I
we
think
covered a lot of bases.
yeah, we really did. It's really fun and exciting, and I've enjoyed getting to know you.
Thank you.
Before I ask you the final question to close out this wonderful conversation, is there anything you feel that I missed?
No, I mean, I guess the only thing I guess I have to say to everybody else is like most people are searching for what is normal, but normal doesn't exist. So whenever you find yourselves just feeling like you're an oddball out, like no, that's a good thing. Like that's the right path for you. You don't want to fit into the sheep of society. It's just not. Everybody is their own individual and has their own path. So never feel bad about yourself for doing something different.
Well said. And having said that, it feeds right into my last question.
Oh, okay.
As you are walking around being gray coats out there with your art or designing a set or another music video, as people pass you by, if you had the opportunity to hold up a sign that says one thing about you, what would you want people to know?
I think it would stay in the same vein of what I just talked about. I don't know if it would say the word what is normal or I'm not normal, or maybe I'd pose them a question, like, are you normal? And then they'll just like look at that. And some people will be like, yes, yeah, like, and then they'll get a little tense, but other people will be a little like, no, I'm not. And then they'll be kind of happy about it.